Enough is enough.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Indie Wrestling Corner with another episode of Under the Ropes. I'm your host as always, the queen of the indies. And listen, everybody's gotta go take the pledge, all right? Because I'm on a whole unit spree, clearly. So we're bringing on another guest from the unit. What's up, Danny Miles?
How's it going?
It's good. I'm so excited that I got you on here. So we're continuing with the unit. I love that we got the background. I feel bad now.
Yeah,
I feel like I should be wearing my hoodie right now. Like,
you should be.
Well,
I'm not wearing my shirt either, too. So
ooh,
that's why I got the background.
That's it. Fail. That's it. That's it. You're done. Not on the podcast anymore.
I can't be done. I started the thing. I can't be done.
I love it. So guys, if you're new to the channel here on the Under the Rope series, I interview everything independent wrestling, whether it's wrestlers, promoters, referees, behind the scenes, everything independent wrestling. I got you covered. So if you guys have any questions for Danny, I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer any of them. Please drop them into the chat. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn that bell on so you can see all the interviews and all the other, crazy stuff that I have on the Indie Wrestling Corner. So love into the chat. I see all you guys. What's up? So we're gonna kick this stream off. So we're gonna start off like I like to start off with my interviews. Clearly I know you, but the fan base may or may not know you. So let's start off with how you got into professional wrestling.
All right. Well, I'm sure you hear this every interview. Watched it as a kid.
Yeah.
Grew up watching it. Started watching actually very young. There's stories from my mom and stepdad telling that when I was like 3 and 4 years old, they'd have put a colored TV and a VCR in my room because I wouldn't stop bringing them VHSs to play. I think it was WrestleMania 9 that they always say that is the one. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty funny. I just, whole life was just like, what are you going to do when you grow up? Well, I'm going to be a pro wrestler, everyone laughs, but here we are. When I was 16, so it was November, I think, 2005, there was an indie show at my high school, and I went to it and then stayed afterwards and asked everyone that came out of the locker room door, where can I go train? And found a place, and that January I started, and here we are 16 years later.
Wow. You'd be surprised. There are people that come onto this podcast that didn't even watch wrestling and they became a wrestler.
Yeah, so more recently I've heard a lot of this. There's like so many young kids now, like you'll hear like, oh yeah, so you remember back then, like, oh, I started watching wrestling in 2014. I was like, oh my God. All right, I'm old.
I feel you on that, That's why you say like WrestleMania 9. I go back to I'm thinking like WrestleMania 10, even though like I had watched I think a little bit more before. I can't even remember. That's how old I am. Like,
yeah,
that's how I feel like. It's like, oh God, I don't remember. Like, and then it's funny like the indie scene. So, it's just crazy that how insane the independent scene is as a whole. Yeah. All over the place. I can't keep up with you guys. I feel bad that I can't come to a bunch of shows. To a lot of people, anybody that comes on this podcast, I feel guilty all the time because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna catch up to you.
Yeah, there's so much.
There's so
there.
much.
It's wild.
It's so much. Like our friend Sky's in the chat. She's taking notes. We love Sky. She's in the UK. She's training. So it's crazy. So she listens to me. I don't know why, but she gets to, see all these people on like the East Coast and West Coast or wherever it is that anybody comes from. So she gets to learn about a lot of new wrestlers on this podcast that she doesn't know. So I know Sky has been excited with the unit. So since I had good. JT on, so she said that she was her birthday's this weekend actually. Happy birthday, Sky.
Right. Yeah, happy birthday.
So she said that she was gonna tell her parents to buy a unit shirt. So There you go.
Nice. Yeah, shopjtdunn.com for the unit shirts.
There you go. So I like to ask this question. Clearly, like I said, I know you. I've seen you in person and everything. But I like to ask the opinion of yours. Like, for a fan that's never seen you wrestle before, what is the go-to match that they should watch after they listen to this podcast?
Well, there's a bunch of them. There's me versus Bear Bronson from Wrestling As of Tomorrow, dog collar match. That's a real good one if you want to see some blood and some violence. You can also look up Danny Miles versus Harlem Bravado. I know there's a couple of those out there on YouTube. My matches with him were always very, very good. So shout out to him, and I know he's doing his own thing up at NXT now, Anders Chase U and all that good stuff. So those are some good matches to watch. And then, any of the matches I've had with the Hardy Boys or Cody Rhodes or, dropping names now. I'll pick those back up. Hold on. Let me pick those back up.
I love it. Oh, it's funny because you brought that up, and that was going to be one of my questions, because you and Matt Hardy had a couple of rounds in the ring. Yep. So, we're all marks at heart. So, tell us a little bit about that experience working with Matt.
Matt's great. So I've had I think 4 or 5 singles matches with him. I think 3 singles matches with Jeff, and probably 4 tag matches with them. Mm-hmm. And every time, it's been great. The first time actually was I actually wrestled Rebby first. I had a match with Rebby years ago, and so what happened was the first time I wrestled Matt was he had actually gotten split open with a guitar from Jeff Jarrett. Mm-hmm. So he had 30 staples in his head, and he had actually called the promoter big time and was like, hey, can you give me Danny, because he'll take care of me like he did Rebby and this and that. So then after that, it's just been snowballing. Now everybody knows that they're going to be good with me. Match is going to be great. They're going to get the reactions they want, and there's not going to be any hospital visits unless things get crazy.
No hospital visits. You guys will make me nervous. I swear, just anybody that I see, they get cut, or especially the deathmatch wrestling, it freaking make me nervous. I'm just going to.
Yeah, deathmatch. That's wild.
Yeah.
I tiptoe into some, hardcore stuff, but I don't go. At least I haven't yet. I've been told that I could hang with some of these guys, but I'm like, you know what? Leave it to them.
Yeah. Glass
belongs in windows, not in my eyeball.
I feel you. These guys, they're crazy. I'm telling you. Yeah. So little hardcore is fine, and even sometimes that could be nerve-wracking, but the full-blown deathmatch wrestling, the art of that, I have so much respect for it, and it's crazy. Shout out to Casey Catal, because she sent me a text the other day of she just did crazy match, and she's sending me pictures of her scalp, and I was like, use a crazy bitch. I was like, use a crazy bitch. So, but you guys, even without doing death matches, between getting so and whether you get broken arms or whatever it is, you guys put your bodies on the line to entertain the hell out of us. So I could always thank you guys, so it doesn't matter what it's deathmatch wrestling, you could do the slightest thing and get extremely hurt, something that you've done 100,000 times. So
very true.
It's nuts, but
yeah, I think JT tore his hamstring throwing a super kick, something like that. It was a couple years ago, but yeah.
Oof, my goodness. Yeah. Crazy. I'm watching a whole bunch of people. TJ Crawford, shout out to him. Can't wait for him to get back into the ring. Miss him so much.
Yeah, I think I saw him tweet today, day 35?
Yeah, he's working. I can't wait to see. I put a clip up the other day with him and Ace Romero from a year ago. Magic, Pro Wrestling Magic, and I was like, can we run this match back, please? It was good.
Oh, I'm sure we will. I'm sure by the time he comes back, the unit still be, running things, and he'll try to join the fray and take us out, but it won't happen,
Well, let's go there. Let's talk the unit. All right.
All right.
So, I'm going to ask everybody, part of the unit about the unit. And it was really funny. I don't know if you noticed, I put a tweet out yesterday and it was referring to the unit yesterday, but I didn't say it was the unit, but some people caught on to what I was saying. I was like, you're a true heel. I was like, when you piss the fans off and the fans walk out of the building, like,
Yeah, it happens.
that's true heat.
Hey, they already bought the tickets. We already got their money. So if they leave, whatever. See ya.
You're like, dish it, but you can't handle it, like,
Yeah.
and then you get mad.
Those will be the same fans that go home and order a T-shirt online.
Yeah, I believe it. I totally believe it. But that was one of the conversations I was having with my friend April when we were driving to New Jersey Saturday, and she was like, the fan got up and got really mad and walked out of the show. She was like, I was like, that's true heat, man. I was like, that's how you do it. I was like, but it's true though. If you're gonna dish it, you got to take it back. So, and I'm one of the ones that like to talk shit, so I got to take it back. So, but yeah, give us a little bit about like, what the unit means to you and stuff.
Oh man, those guys are my brothers. I actually, if you rewind a little over a year ago, all this stuff that was going on the last couple of years. Last summer, I had a house fire, lost everything, all my wrestling gear, everything I ever owned was it burned.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, I was just kind of like, sounds like a good time to just stop. I was like, yeah, I'm done. It's been 15 years. I haven't really. I've done a lot of cool things, but, I'm not making a living off of it, So, like,
Right.
I've had a lot of concussions, a lot of, other little injuries that nag me. And I was like, man, I'm done, And Chaotic had actually reached out because they know I'm only 20, 25 minutes away from the school, and they're talked about their tapings and whatnot. And I was like, all right, I'm just supposed to be the guy that, that's been around a while for this New England title tournament, just to add a little flavor to it. But once I got there, had that match, I had another match that was supposed to just be, hey, help get this kid over. And, they went all right. They weren't great for what I, would want out of them.
Right.
But I was like way out of shape. I was like battling depression. I was battling the bottle. Like I even said it in a promo, like my first promo with the unit, I said it, I was battling depression, battling the bottle, battling all sorts of things. And, basically having, JT and OG and stuff, around me all the time at that time. Cause now we're taping all the time.
Right.
They kind of pulled me back in. And, when JT was like, hey, I think I'm going to start the unit back up, which is something that we started at Wrestling Has It Tomorrow. It was me, JT and Brad Hollister. And I was like, let's do it. And then everything just fell into place from there, and from there it was just, one thing after another. Now we own Chaotic.
Yeah.
And, I'm back in for the long haul, so if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be, wrestling right now.
Oh, I love that. That's why it's like important. We have to talk about like the unit. And, I was talking last night again, like I guess my life is freaking wrestling. But I was saying that, things that catch me and like, I support a lot of wrestlers. I support a lot of promotions, and I was like, somebody had asked me like, oh, we got to get you, to the show more. And I was like, listen, like, things grab me. That's what makes me come. And I was like, if I start seeing certain matches that pull the shit out of me, I'm gonna go. If there's really great storytelling, and I am such a sucker for storytelling, and what you guys, got going on right now, and I'm like, damn, I was like, I'm all in. Like, I wish I wasn't like 3.5 hours away, because I would probably come to like everything. So we'll see. I was saying I don't know when I'm gonna come back, hopefully soon. But I just love the storytelling over at Chaotic, and I talked about this with Chase when Chase came on, and I was like, everything has a story pretty much, and the quality of the wrestling, which is really good. And you have some promotions that the quality isn't as good, but these are important keys for a fan, especially like I said, me, like that's gonna pull me.
Yeah, they've always been very good at long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
They have their core fans. They run their certain towns that they have, and the fans are loyal, and they can be wild in some of these towns. But it's awesome to see that from town to town they go to, a lot of these fans will travel to the different shows, which is great. And being a part of the long-term storytelling, like everything we do has a reason. There's a reason for everything we do. And when you see it develop over time, you think back, and a lot of times Frankie, the mastermind behind all these video packages and stuff, you see, things will pop up in the video package and you'll be like, oh, that's right. And there's all these cool little things. So it's actually, it's been a lot of fun being a part of that, because I'm not used to, working for a lot of promotions that do these deep dive, into these stories like Chaotic does. So it's been definitely a really good change of pace, and being able to be in that side of things.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up like promos and things on Twitter and stuff, like I get so invested, and again, we'll get into this later or whatever like that, because there's so much toxic and negative vibes and just in general on social media, which sucks. And I'm like, I was just talking to Matt Vertigo recently, and I was saying that I was like, I don't really see as much toxic as some people do. And I was like, I think because I have my social, to the things that I do like. So I love the interactions on Twitter. Like, if you're in the storyline and then you're going at, Love Doug, or something, like I get easily entertained, and I'm sitting here, I'm ready with the popcorn for you guys. And I'm like, I'm all in, I'm all invested in this story.
I'm telling you right now, I'll be at work, minding my business, just trying to make my money.
Yeah.
And I'll get a notification and I'll see Love Doug. And I'm like, oh no, not today. And I just my Twitter fingers start going. And it's always good when I can slap Love Doug around virtually or physically,
Oh, Jesus. I can't. It's like, oh my God, I can't. Let me give some love in the chat. Sky says, just found some of your matches on YouTube. We'll check it out. She'll be taking notes for herself so she can learn some stuff. Jay says, is there anyone training at NEPWA you would like to join the unit to help grow into a big star or outside?
That's a good question. You have to think about them all. And, a lot of the ones that you guys have seen, they've been trying to battle us, so I don't know if any of them deserve that opportunity right now, if they keep sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. But I will say I had a match with Randy Rivera over the summer, and he's got a good look and he's got a good future ahead of him. So maybe if puts his head on straight, maybe we can talk in the future.
Okay, there you have it. There you have it. My friend I see on Twitter wrote, find out why he's the worst member of the unit. I think the answer
that's my stan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my biggest stan. I already know who it is. I don't even have to go to Twitter and look. That's my biggest stan. Every show I'm at, this guy sits front row, and all he does is say, Danny Miles sucks. Danny Miles is the worst member of the unit. Yada, yada, yada. My biggest stan. That's what he is.
Yes. He almost got me in trouble. It almost cost my interview with you.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I almost forgot about that. Yeah. That's right.
I can't. So, we talk about, chaotic, like you said, it's been great. Can you share some of your favorite moments?
Favorite moments, gotta be, first one off the top of my head is when, I joined the unit, turned on Davey. I wish that would have been in front of, in the public, in front of a real live crowd instead of in the studio. Because the reaction it got in the studio taping was, extremely good. And not just because it was like a studio taping, it's because nobody knew what was happening.
Right.
And, I feel like that on a bigger scale in one of these, packed buildings like in Tewksbury or something like that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. That was a lot of fun. I was so happy it worked because I was kind of like, I don't know if, how it's going to go, but it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
And then just, being around my boys, being around JT, being around OG, Ace, Verna. Verna's awesome. Being able to just have fun all the time. There's no stress. So those are like the best moments there.
Well,
just having a good time.
The unit has cookies and what dental plan? That's what JT said on the podcast. It's a happy
we get
place.
401k. We got paid time off. We get, Mr. Hollywood, Man of Steel, Mike Verna gets us into all the VIP parties. It's there's benefits here.
Ah, okay. I like it. Yeah. So we had Rich Palladino on recently for an interview, and he brought up, see, he was talking about, your time in Japan. So he pretty much, told me to talk to you about that, So, I was fortunate enough, like Alex Zane came on the podcast while he was in Japan doing an interview with me. So it's really cool. And I'd love to hear those stories from wrestlers, like, your time, like in Japan. Like, talk about the fans, because I know the fans are like, great over there. Talk about like just, being out there, like some of your favorite places that, maybe you got to see.
Yeah, Japan's amazing. It's been a very long time since I was there. I was there in 2010.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. The fans are amazing, as you said. I had fans bring me, presents, like fruit and like all sorts of stuff. I had this one specific memory I have is after one of the shows, I was kind of like, walking around getting ready to tear everything down. And this little old lady comes up to me, and she kind of, she knows some English, but there's a little bit of a barrier. But she says, the gist of it was, she says, I know when you're in match, it's going to be good fight. And I was just like, this is awesome. Like, that was awesome, But yeah, I loved every second of Japan. I was there for 2 months, trained in 01. The training was some of the toughest training I've ever gone through, if not the toughest.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of, especially when I first got there were a lot of days where I was like, oh man, they're going to kill me today. That's what they're going to do. But it was good. I got to wrestle in Corkian Hall. I got to travel up and down Japan with them. I got to spend a lot of time with Masato Tanaka, who's somebody I watched growing up and was a huge fan of, still am a huge fan of. Spent a lot of time, out drinking with with a lot of the guys there.
Yeah.
And had a lot of good times.
Did you get like lost? Because I've heard those stories too, that it's like, because like we live here and then like to go over there and it's like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. Like pretty much. A little bit, yeah. But I was, so when I first got there, there was a guy from Australia, and we were there for a week together. He blew out his knee. Oh no.
In our first match. It was a tag match. It was supposed to be like our coming out of like this tag team was going to be entering this tag team tournament.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to, be dominant and win this tag match. And he blows out his knee in the middle of the match. And so they changed the finish on us. And actually, funny story about that is I was in with a heavyweight, and he he puts me in he choke slams me, and I kick out because I couldn't, I didn't know we were changing the finish. Apparently that was his finish, and I'm a junior heavyweight kicking out of a heavyweight's finish. So
oh my
so
god,
it was it got a lot of ooh from the crowd, and then the kid grabs me, puts me in a crab, and he put in the crab, and so I fought for a little bit, and then I tapped, and so that I think that helped actually win me over with a lot of the fans there, because they're like, this kid's tough,
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got to another cool thing over there is I got to team with the great Sasuke, who another guy I grew up watching, against Masato Tanaka and another kid from America here, Alex Anthony. So we had a match inside of a mall. So that was cool. It was like a triple, 3-layer mall with all
Yeah.
the fans just all lined up. It was cool.
Oh,
It was a cool experience. There's actually a little clip. I think Alex Anthony posted a little clip of it like last week or something.
Oh, that's so
Uh,
funny. That's
yeah.
cool. That's cool. Oh man,
Yeah.
in a mall. Like I've been hearing that like lately.
Yep.
Another shout out to Anthrax from H2O. He was telling me that he worked at a mall. And I was like, get out of here. He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, how crazy is that? Imagine just like people
Yeah.
walking around like, oh, what's that? But
Yep.
that's kind of smart though, actually.
Yeah, at one point, Masato Tanaka and I were just like, we're going around the ring and stuff, and he goes, "Where's Sasuke?" And I look up, I have no idea. He had taken Alex Anthony, and they were like in one of the stores. Like, they just like disappeared. It was funny.
They went shopping. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna. You're like, we had our match. We're good. Like, I gotta go shopping. What's on sale? 20% off over here, pretty much.
Yep.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, for a little bit of my time there, though, I was alone. I was the only American there with 01, and so I was staying in the apartment, and I would just go for walks just around Tokyo by myself. I would just be gone for hours, just walking around.
Very different. So I can imagine what it looks like now after all this
Yeah.
time from then to now. Alex A was talking about this one Taco Bell that he kept going back to that was very different than what we're used to. Like they still had like the same stuff, but he said like there were things that were just very different. And I remember him putting like the video out of like how it was like plated and stuff too. Like it was really interesting. So maybe one day I get to go check out Japan, but a lot of people I know
I
have
had the
out
same
there.
thing. I had a McDonald's that I would always walk to.
Yeah.
Same thing. And they had this thing called Shaka Shaka chicken, which was basically like a piece of chicken inside of a bag, and you would pick out which spice you want and dump it in and shake it up and then just eat the chicken.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was going there and just be like, I need 4 Shaka Shaka chickens.
It's like
I would just walk around.
it's like the Zeppelins, pretty much. Like, you got the bag and you like put in the Zeppelins
Yeah.
in with the powdered sugar and everything like that. Oh man.
Yep.
See, we're going into food. I brought up Alex Zane's name. Every time I bring him up, food comes up into the conversation. Damn it, Zane. That's cool though. Well, maybe like, one day you get to like go back and like even like training and
Yeah, I've wanted to, but sometimes the shoot life gets in the way,
Yeah, no, I understand that. Maybe even like a short visit. That'd be like,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
One day.
One day. So and then definitely not everybody treats it like a sport, not like entertainment with a lot of places here, which
That's
is really, really cool to see. So like a lot of praise with Big Time Wrestling too. I want to bring up that company as well because they have great stuff. I still need to attend one. I forgot who it was. Was it Trigger that I was talking about it with? That I was like, I was supposed to go to one and I forgot what happened. That was around here or something, and I wind up not going unless it got canceled. I don't remember, but I remember I was supposed to go. But it's a great company. If you guys haven't, definitely go check it out. So give us some of like your favorite moments, maybe like favorite matches that like you've had over there too.
Oh geez, there's been so many because I've been there since I started. So I started training January 2006. Big Time's first show was April something, like 9th or something, 2006, and so I was there from the beginning. I was helping out in that first show. The second show, they actually like came to us because I think some people that were supposed to be in the opener were running late, so they came to a couple of us and were like, "You guys have your gear ready?" And we're like, "Yeah." And they're, "Go get it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." so that was pretty crazy because at that point I'd been in, I think that was in like July or something of 06. I'd only been wrestling 6 months or training 6 months, and here I am gonna go out on the show that has like 700 people at it, and Samoa Joe's on the show. Jay Lethal's on the show, Abyss is on the show, Tracy Brooks is on the show. I'm trying to remember who else is on. I'm trying to remember everyone from that second show. But there was like so many like names on the show that like I watched. So it was like the first time where I was like, oh man, this is crazy. And I remember having the match, and then some of those guys pulling me aside and being like, hey, how long you been wrestling, this and that, and then like giving me all sorts of pointers. So like that was cool. But over the years, I mean, we're talking now 16 years. Yeah. So there's a lot of like cool moments that I was on a Piper's Pit. I've had tag matches with the Rock and Roll Express. I've had tag matches with the Hardy Boys. I was one of Cody Rhodes' first opponents that wasn't on his list. You know, I think there had only been like one other that wasn't on his list at that point when he first left WWE. So I've gotten to do a lot of cool things like that. I wrestled at a Six Flags, and Mick Foley was like he was like the special enforcer of the match, and we posed after the match with like us. It was me and Scott Reed as the Big Time Wrestling Tag Team Champions at the time, with Mick Foley and like the Flash and Green Lantern with like all these roller coasters behind us. Like, what is that? You know, like who else says that? You know, it's just a wild thing. You know, but I've gotten to, you know, through them, you know, I've had a lot of awesome opportunities to work with and wrestle against or teaming with some of, like, you know, these heroes in wrestling, you know, these legends. Right. So I've been very fortunate to be given those opportunities when they come up. And I wrestle in like these historic buildings, you know,
right.
The Mid-Hudson Civic Center, the Spartanburg Auditorium, the Dorton Arena, the Jaffa Shrine in Altoona. Plus I get to travel up and down, you know, all over the United States with them, you know. Right. I'm not paying for it, you know, so.
Little perk. Perk.
Exactly. So who doesn't like, you know, like that part.
Yeah. I'll bet. It's like wrestle at Six Flags, and it's like, all right, I'll see you later. I'm going on that roller coaster right now.
It's
like...
exactly what I did. we had 2 shows in the day, and in between them, I was like, see ya. I'm in my wrestling gear, like just going up on roller coasters.
How awesome is that? Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah. That's fun though. Like the different things that you get to do with promotions, and that's a lot of fun. There's so many good perks.
Wrestled in City Field, you know, because of the connection with Big Time, you know, and like that's wild. Like wrestled on home plate of City Field. What?
New York, man, you get some hot dogs, like the real New Yorker here, like, you know, like that's so awesome. I think it's funny. I think who was it? I was saying to somebody, I was like, you know, it's funny, like me being New York and from Queens, and, you know, having this thick accent that I come up to like chaotic, and then it's like that Boston, you know, like depending. Yep. And it's like, that was the running joke with me and Alec Price. They're like, damn, nobody's going to understand this interview between the thick Queens accent and, you know, the city New York accent. And then you have that Massachusetts accent with the garbage.
Sometimes I have to go, Alec, what did you just say to me?
Like, I love it. Down. Yeah.
Say it again.
It's so weird because it's like so similar in a way to like someone like me. So I pick up and I giggle because it's just like me thinking of like how thick my accent could be on certain words and stuff, and then how thick it is with him. And I'm like, man, I love this accent. It's hysterical. And if you guys did see the video for Chaotic, it's on the channel that I did a lot of backstage interviews. AC yelled at me.
He was not happy with you.
I know. Damn.
He feels like he should be the first to do everything. So the fact that he wasn't the first member of the unit to do a podcast probably really twisted him a little bit.
But the best for last, I guess, right?
Save the best for last.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, so I guess Dirty Dango's your last interview. I don't know.
We'll see. Coming soon. Mike Vern is coming on next week. So,
that's Man of Steel.
This is why you have to subscribe to Indie Wrestling Corner and make sure you're following on Twitter to see who is coming up next. So you never know who's
subscribe, hit the notification button.
All that fun stuff. Oh, Sky's loving me right now. Hot dog. Your accent is the best. Yeah, it's weird. Like just certain words, and I think ever since I started podcasting, then I noticed the big accent on certain words like New York, you know, and stuff like that twang, as I like to call it. So let's do some fan tweets. I got a couple here. Right. So we got one from Good Cop, Bad Cop. He goes, as a New Englander, with Danny Miles being an anagram of damn New York lies, what's the biggest lie you have heard about New York or heard from a New Yorker? That's terrible. I feel so attacked right now. Like... I feel so attacked.
Let's see. The biggest lie. Well, I guess if you watch like movies and stuff, you think that everyone's a mobster. So that's probably the biggest one.
I'm coming moving in.
Or that they have the best pizza.
All right,
That
now
might
we're
be-
gonna fight. Now this podcast
might
is
be the one.
over. This podcast is over right now because we're so gonna fight. How are you gonna
Hey.
say that we don't have the best pizza?
Hey, it's New Haven, Connecticut. I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
Listen, I made pizza
no.
for 8 years, so
No.
I'm kind of a snob about it.
Listen, okay,
Sorry.
between the
All right,
Sicilian
well,
here.
next time I'm in New York, you're gonna have to,
I'm gonna take you to the spot,
right.
okay? Because I'm gonna take you to the spot where the grandmother, she's in the back, she's making the sauce, okay? Yeah, sauce,
Right.
like I said, she's the
Yeah, the
sauce.
Yeah.
She's stirring the sauce. I can't. But yeah, she stirred the sauce, and
right.
you know, I'm gonna take you. It's a little hole in the wall spot. And
All right.
anybody that does not live in New York, I take them there, and they fall in love.
All right,
so,
we'll see.
so when you come to New York, we're gonna go, and we're gonna
All right.
record it, and we're gonna put it
Well,
up on the
now,
channel.
Now I'm gonna have to get a booking in New York just to.
Yes.
just to-
So if
specifically
you,
for this reason.
yes, if you just book him, okay, and we'll bring you some pizza, okay? Like, how about
Yeah.
that? We'll bring you pizza. So, and we're gonna put it up on the channel. So, challenge accepted. So, pretty much. All right. So we have another fan question. This one came off Instagram from Krug. He goes, "Why does the unit cheat so much if the unit's that good?"
We don't cheat. What are you talking about? If you cheat, here's what happens. You get this thing, it's called a disqualification. It means that you broke the rules, and so you lose the match. And from what I can recall, none of us have been disqualified ever. So if that's the case, then we're not cheating, right?
There you go. Yeah, he's spoken.
We can all agree if you cheat, you get disqualified, and I've never been disqualified. So I don't know. I guess that answers that.
Yeah. So, so we're gonna move on from that because I'm not gonna press it. I'm not gonna press it. All right. So we got some fun stuff here. So, do you have any pre-match rituals?
Pre-match rituals? No, not really.
No.
No. No. I don't eat on show days. Maybe I guess that's one. Sure. Besides stretching, the normal stuff. No, I don't have any. I'm not like Nomar Garcia Parra going off the bat doing all this stuff. I don't do any of that.
Okay. Alrighty. So let's do this because I'm sure you've got one. You guys like travel so much, whether you're in the car, whether you're flying, whatever. Give us one of your best road trip stories.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sure there's plenty.
Oh, there's plenty. I just need to check my ratings here.
Let's not get anybody in trouble, or maybe get someone in trouble.
Yeah. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. All right. So this one, this is a good one because it's wild to think about. It's another one of those because of big time. Like,
Yeah.
It's wild to think about that, like this happening. So I think it was 2014, maybe. The owner of Big Time Wrestling, Steve Perkins, he had booked Bret Hart to do the Montreal Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually two stories to this trip. So I say, all right, yeah, I'll come up with you and help you. So we drive up to Montreal, and so this is the first part. This is the little mini story inside the story. I had actually, when we were driving up to the border, I was kind of not really paying attention, and all of a sudden he goes, Danny, and I look, and there's all these reflecting, like reflector sticks on like springs.
Okay.
And I just plow down like 10 of them. Boom, 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 boom. And so I swerve back into the lane. I get up to the border. And the guy opens the window. And he's like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Good. How's your night?" And he never brought up that I just knocked out a dozen reflectors.
Oh my god.
Somehow we didn't get searched or anything, and like we just went through.
Oh my god. Oh my
So
god.
that always gets brought up. Anytime I'm driving and Steve's with me, he's like, "Hey, now watch out for the reflectors." I'm like, one time, But no, that later that weekend we did the Comic-Con, and I don't think it's any secret that Brett likes certain recreational activities that are legal in some states here.
Yeah.
And so after the Comic-Con was over, we all went back to our rooms and this and that. Later that night, Mick Foley was having a comedy show as part of the convention. So Brett wanted to go. And so there was probably like 4 or 5 of us with Brett and his wife going down an alleyway in Montreal, passing around some recreational things. And on our way to watch Mick Foley do stand-up. Like, what is that? You know, if you told me when I was 8 years old or whatever, when the screw job happened, that I'd be in Montreal with Brett on the way to watch Mick Foley do stand-up, like, what is this? You know, like, what is this life?
Do you still have like those moments, like being a wrestler, like, you know, working with other names and stuff like that? The moments like shit, like, you know.
So not usually in the moment. Sometimes, because I've been around. I've done it so many times now that like we're all just people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We're all just people, and we're all in the same place on the same night. So like, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is. You know.
Yeah.
But like sometimes, like the first time I wrestled the Rock and Roll Express, we were in a sold-out Spartanburg Auditorium, which is like a legendary Crockett building. There's still an old Crockett ring in a closet, you know. So like the first time being in the ring, waiting for them, their music hits and they come out and the place just explodes. It was like, whoa, this is cool. Another moment like that too was right before the pandemic shut everything down. Big Time had a show in Webster, Mass, and I teamed with Jacob Fatu against Bubba Ray and Spike Dudley. And I remember being in the ring and the Dudley's music hits and they come out and the place was the loudest I've ever heard that building. And like we had like Ric Flair when Ric Flair wasn't doing indies. He was just out of WWE. Like,
right.
And it was louder for the Dudleys that night. Like it was insane. And I just remember Jacob Fatu looking at me and going, "This is cool." And I was just like, yeah, yeah, man.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, but there are times where like I look back on things and I'm like, oh man, like that was cool. You know, like once again in Spartanburg, I don't know, it's just something with me in that building, I guess. I teamed with Gangrel against the Broken Hardys, so it was like me and the New Brood in this sold out building having a tag match, which is just, you know, what is this life?
Yeah.
You know, like what is going on? So like in the moment I didn't think about it, but like now I'm like, oh dude, I should have got a picture with the New Brood. And I never take pictures with people ever. I'm not one of those guys. You know, everyone, you know, has their things. Yeah. I was never I watched this guy when I was 12. I need a picture with him, you know?
But that's awesome. Like that's cool. Like I feel like that too, even like becoming like working in these podcasts and working with guys like you, and Sky could definitely vouch for that because she'll message me and tell me about certain people that she's scared of meeting. Sorry, I'm throwing you on the bus. I love you, Sky, very, very much. You know that. You know, and I always tell the stories how, you know, I throw people under the bus when they tell me that they're afraid to meet wrestlers. So I'll be that one to throw you under the bus in a loving way.
I'm the same way.
You know, in a loving, very loving way. Because it was done to me and I've been embarrassed out of my mind also. Now it's just like nothing for me now. It's like, okay, cool. You know, every once in a while I have like a moment, you know, but for the most part, like it gets easier and easier because, you know, we're all alike, which is great. So let's talk about this because it's very dear to my heart on the Indie Wrestling Corner. You know, Wrestling with Positivity, I've been pushing for a while now. You know, thanks for all the support, guys. I love it. I just released part 2 of the video. It's pinned on the Indie Wrestling Corner Twitter, so make sure you go watch that video. It's on YouTube. So I love to incorporate this into my interviews with anybody that comes on. So I love to know, like, is there any moments that stick out to you, whether it was something that, you know, you've done for a fan or a fan's done for you, or you've done for a wrestler or a wrestler's done for anything that comes to mind that's a positive that a fan wouldn't hear about?
I feel like there's been a lot over the years, but to like, you know, think of one right. Well, I have this family that I train jiu-jitsu with. They have 2 boys that are I want to say they're 5 and 7 now. So at the time they were like, you know, 4 and 6 or whatever. It was last summer. Okay. And we were all away at an Airbnb up in the woods in New Hampshire. And for one of our other training partners' birthdays, there was like a bunch of us. It was like kind of rowdy. And my buddy told the older son, Kyrie, he's like, hey, do you know Dan wrestles? And he was like, what do you mean? And then his parents told me, they're like, yeah, he knows wrestling from like video games, but he's never really seen it. Like he's only seen a little bit. So I was like, oh, come here, buddy. Sit down on this couch right here. And, I pulled up WWE Network, logged in, and I was like, who's your favorite? He's like, I play the video games all the time with Kofi. I'm like, okay, I got some for you. And I just started pulling up, Kofi Kingston winning the title at Mania, Usos and New Day in the Hell in a Cell. Like, I just started pulling up all these matches, and he was just like mind blown, like fan for life now. They'll bring him to Chaotic every now and then, and they go crazy. One of them actually, the younger one, Noah, a couple of Chaotic shows ago when JT, won Chaotic for us. In the middle of that match, I don't know if you remember, the entire locker room cleared to try to, take us out. During that melee, I had rushed Ricky Smokes up against the guardrail trying to defend myself, and my little buddy Noah runs up and punches him. Yeah. So I think being able to give those kids, the window into this, art form that, so many people love, and now they get to enjoy it, and they get to look up at these guys that, they can now idolize, and they're always asking me about stuff and stuff. So I actually, through Big Time Wrestling does auctions every wrestling sales. They sell autographs, memorabilia, and stuff like that, like 2-3 times a week on Facebook. So I called up my, Steve, and I was just like, hey, do you have any New Day autographs? He's like, I just got one. I'm like, all right, I need it. And so I grabbed that 8x10 for them, and like it made this kid Kyrie's like life, that he had this autographed 8x10 by the New Day. So that's a good positive that's like kind of near to me. That's just to see those kids, like I was when I was,
that's what it's about. It's fun. Like even me, like I have friends who have kids, like whether they're young, they come to wrestling with me, and it's hysterical, like for me to watch, because it's like you reminisce back when you were a kid, like into wrestling, and you're like, oh my god, like here I was, like obsessed with like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and like I think one of my favorite stories is like when I met Owen Hart like a couple of weeks before he passed. It was crazy. He was doing a signing at it was at a rug store. Believe it or not, it was like a carpet store. It was the weirdest. I don't know. I was really young. Like,
well, that's got me beat. I thought my weirdest one was I met when I was a kid. I met Hawk and Animal at Interstate 91, which I don't know if those are anywhere outside of Mass, but they're like indoor roller skating rinks. Yeah, it was like right before they had the match with the New Age Outlaws at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I forgot which show.
I remember like chasing them down and being like, "Are you gonna win?" And they're like, "You'll have to watch and see." And I was like, "What the?" It didn't answer my question.
But those are the moments. That's what I always think about that, like meeting him, and I remember because I was so nervous, and like he signed. Remember the WWF magazines that used to come into the mail? So I used to get those. So I have it like in storage in plastic, clearly, of him signing the thing. And I remember like my dad shook his hand, and I remember walking out with my dad. I always remember this, and I go, "How did it feel like?" And my dad's like, "It's like a fucking hand." Like, what the hell? Like, but it's like you're young, and it's like you're stupid, and it's like.
Oh, I took all those magazines and would cut out everybody, and
oh my God.
I remember there was like one night I was up all night. I didn't sleep at all. I went to school on no sleep after plastering my wall with all these just cut out pictures from magazines. And I remember I came home from school and my mom had taken it all down.
Oh no.
Yeah, major heat. A lot of heat in that household after that.
Oh man.
I'm not bitter about it to this day. I swear.
Okay. I remember those days though, with the posters and all that stuff like that, hanging it on the wall. They had the big ones. I remember that you would have to call to like order it, like you had to call like the number, like, okay, I want this.
Kids have your parents' permission.
Yeah. Remember those days? Oh man. Okay, I don't want to talk about this. I'm getting sad now that I'm so old right now. But yeah. So what are some of your goals that you have in 2022?
Just keep running Chaotic, and to start, I want to start wrestling a lot more places. Over the last however many years, I've kind of stuck to the same couple places, mainly big time, which,
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to go wrestle anywhere else. If there's a big time show, I do
home.
everything there.
Yeah. It's home.
Just a couple places in New England. So like, I'd love to branch out more. You know, I've reached out to places and either you never hear back or it's, oh, we don't have anything for you right now, kid, you know, the old thing. But definitely a big goal is to branch out more. Because, you know, I'm not getting any younger, and a year ago I was done. So, you know, I better do it while I can.
Yeah. Book him, especially in New York, so we can have some pizza together.
We gotta try this pizza.
Listen, create a pro. All right, I'm calling you out. Create a pro.
We got a call out there.
I'm calling you out. Like, you're not far from me. Like, you could book my peeps back over there. I mean, I just saw JT and Love Doug over there a couple of months ago. So
no one wants to see Love Doug.
Listen, okay,
I'm
still gonna fight for Love Doug.
I know we're about positivity here, but I positively don't want to see Love Doug. So I think that counts.
Damn, the heat. Good cop, bad cop said in the chat, hashtag bad cop is loving. This question generated some real heat there. This is talking about
what I do.
Pretty much. So I got two final questions for you. If anybody's got any more, drop them in the chat, please. So what are some things you like to do when you're not in the squared circle?
Jiu-jitsu. I've been training jiu-jitsu now. I think May will be 4 years. So I'm usually like actually tonight I would have been there at class, but I was scheduled to do this with you, so missed out on training tonight.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, now I feel bad.
No. I've actually been slacking the last couple of months. I've only been once or twice a week, whereas before I used to go. You know, I used to be like when I first started, first couple of years, I was going 4, 5, 6 times a week.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I've been slacking the last couple of months, but I got to get back into it. Actually, a buddy of mine goaded me into signing up for a competition next Saturday.
Oh.
So I'm like, dude, I've barely been training. What are you getting me to sign up like that? He's like,
that was the way to get you back.
It was. He knew exactly what to say to get me. Yeah, he called me a few choice words, and I was like, I'm not,
See, you got to go do it, and then the reward is New York pizza. This is it. This is how it is now. Now I'm gonna hold this over you because that's it.
Well, yeah. All right.
Yeah, you have to come here because I can't bring that up to Massachusetts because then it's not gonna be good.
It'll be even worse than it already is.
No. We're getting grandma's bringing out the pie to us. Okay, it's like that's just how it is.
You have to have it fresh out the oven.
Yeah. Grandma's got to bring it out. Yeah. So, so my final question for you, and I like ending it off always on a real good note. And you never know who's listening. There's the fans out there that are starting training. There's students that listen to the podcast, so they're always listening and learning from all you guys. So for those amateur and inspiring wrestlers out there, what's a piece of advice that you would give them?
Mouth shut, ears open. That's the one I was always told, and it's always worked. Listen to the vets in the locker room when you hear them calling matches. Ask them to watch. No matter what show you're on, there's people there that have been doing it longer than you or are better than you or have done more in the business than you. Mm-hmm. Ask someone to watch your match. Everyone's always available.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there'll be some guys that are too good for that and they won't do it. But ask for advice. Ask someone to watch it. Ask for good criticism. Don't ask, and don't take it personal. And don't yeah but. I swear, if one more person yeah buts me, it's not going to be a good time. That's like I hate it.
Yeah.
When you're trying to explain something, like, because you see something done a certain way and you're like, you should have, if you would have done it like this, you could have got a better reaction this way. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, but I was, and it's like, yeah, why'd you ask me then if you're just going to tell me that you were right anyways, Yeah,
I think that's.
Yeah. Even to this day, especially in some of these locker rooms I'm in, I'll sit there and I might look like a creep in the corner. I don't know, but I'm just sitting there watching, listening, and like trying to soak in as much as you can. But yeah, always ask. One time we had a show in Prince George, Virginia, and I was wrestling the big time wrestling heavyweight champ at the time, Flex Armstrong, and Ricky Steamboat was on the show, and I was just like, screw it. And I went over to him because he was kind of like off by himself, and I was just like, hey, Ricky, will you watch this? And he was just like, yeah, no problem. He's the nicest guy ever. So like I shouldn't have even been like, like, oh, should I go ask him? I should just, whatever. But yeah, he watched it, and then he went out for the main event after. Came back from the main event. Now the show's over. Fans are all leaving. Like everyone's getting ready to go home. And he stayed with us for over an hour.
Wow.
To talk to us about everything we did and what we could have done differently and why we should do things a certain way and this and that. And it was awesome. Yeah. So always ask. Always ask.
I think that's like really important advice. This guy said she has her notepad, so she's taking all your advice. So it's just funny because I just talked about this with Steve, and I was saying that, I don't know if anybody really looks at it the way that I do. I was like, but I can truly appreciate like the matches of like really new and upcoming kids, working vets, because I feel like that they're gonna learn a lot from somebody that's been in the business 25 plus years. You're gonna learn a lot. And like I've had those conversations. Obviously, I'm very close with H2O, and I talk to a lot of those students constantly, and we talk about that. And a bunch of them got booked at Steve Mack's show, and I was talking to them. I was like, okay, like go pick Steve's brain, because I was like, he's someone who will help you, and be very real about it. Alex Colon just said it too the other day on the podcast. He's like, I'm very real. I'm going to flat out tell you, I don't care. Like, like I speak the truth.
And you need that.
Yeah.
And you need that. You can't have people sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or beat around the bush, or not like just shoot it straight with you. Like, just like, oh yeah, no, it was good. The classic thing you'll hear is like after a match you go over and ask like, hey, did you get to see it? And everyone's always like, oh no, but I heard it and it sounded good. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, thanks, man. Whatever. But I mean, like you said, younger guys working with vets. That's actually, I got a match coming up with Big Time Wrestling, Webster, Massachusetts, March 12th, with Jay Lethal.
I have it on right there.
In 2007, I had a show at my high school. I was 17. It was March 2nd, 2007. So I was 3 weeks shy of turning 18. And I wrestled Jay Lethal. And we went 20 minutes, time limit draw, and then a 5-minute overtime. And I learned so much in that match. It's not even funny. Like I still use things today that he talked to me about then. Yeah. That's and so like it's now obviously like we've had different paths. He went on to do all the awesome things he's done. And then he was exclusive with Ring of Honor. So the only way I was ever going to have another chance to work with him was Ring of Honor. And that didn't work out for me either. So now that it's finally happening, it's like, it's wild that it's like literally 15 years to almost the day.
Wow.
And so the match is pretty big for me, at least in my own head, It might not be big anywhere else, but it's big here.
Yeah. That's important, though. No,
I was showing some of the other guys in the unit and stuff, like a highlight video of that match from 2007, and they were just like, dude, why don't you do some of this stuff still? And I'm like, man, I can't move like that, first of all. I'm old now.
That's awesome. How exciting. How exciting.
It's gonna be good.
So here, I have it up for you guys so you could see. So definitely, if you get to it, get your butt to it,
Yep.
So
Webster, Massachusetts, the Hardy Boys teaming for the first time in over 3 years. Briscoes versus the SATs. One of those teams will go on to face the Hardys in the main event. So it's gonna be a pretty big
can we
show.
get SAT versus the unit? Like,
we've been trying. All of us have been calling them out. Mike has been, JT has been, I have been. It's gonna happen.
Listen,
just where
struggles. I'm calling out struggles now. Struggles, ETU. Let's go. Like, I gotta get struggles on this podcast. We're gonna pick a date because we're in the talks. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna call him out. I'm gonna do it live on the podcast. How about that? I promise you that.
Hey, they want the match with us. We want the match with them. So it's just a matter of who puts it in the ring.
Yeah, I'm really up for it. So,
yep.
Yeah, so Sky says, one of my favorite things to do is ask for feedback and advice. Well, now you can DM Danny and you can bother him.
My DMs are open.
There you go. So go bother him. So, but you got to buy a shirt, a unit.
You got to buy something. ShopDannyMiles.com, ShopJT.com. I'm just kidding. But seriously.
I got yelled at for wearing the hoodie the other day. I got yelled at. I was like, well, like I took the pledge. Like, sorry, I took the pledge. So
if you take the pledge, greatness awaits. And now look, you've had almost all of us on the podcast.
almost.
So there you go.
We'll see. Almost. We'll see what happens. So you guys got to stay tuned to see what's going on. Danny, this has been amazing. This has been amazing chat. You're amazing. The unit's awesome.
Thank you.
Everything. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. So we'll get like an update down the line with you as well. But tell everybody where like they can follow you, where they can support you, and all that fun stuff.
Instagram and Twitter's at Danny Miles USA. I have a YouTube channel out there with a bunch of old matches on it. I have some plans to start putting new content on there. We'll see, if things go the way I want them to. But also I have shopdannymiles.com. I just loaded, this is the first anyone's hearing about it. I just loaded a new t-shirt on there today, a new design to represent the Dream Crusher. So if you go to shopdannymiles.com, it should be pinned at the top, the new design. But I should be posting about that soon on my socials.
Awesome. Get some love. All those links are in the description below, so make sure you go give a follow.
Yeah.
Go
Description
support.
below.
Go support. Go tweet at Creative Pro and get Danny to New York, because we need to do this pizza thing. This is a real thing. This is gonna happen. So I promise you that.
A live pizza challenge.
Yes, we're gonna sit. We're gonna eat pizza. Grandma's gonna bring out the pizza.
one bite, just a one bite, one bite.
He's just gonna get up and walk out, and be like, "Fuck your pizza!" Like pretty much.
Actually, let's hope I'm even allowed to eat it by then. I don't know. I'm on a strict diet right now.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, when is your competition? When is it? When is the competition?
Oh, the jiu-jitsu competition is next Saturday. But
all right.
Even without that, I still have to lose. I think I have to lose another like 5 or 6 pounds for that. But
all right. So after the competition, the dead book him, and then so then we can have this pizza, and then we can have a real argument, and then the real Queen's accent's gonna come out and get really bad. But the Italian.
I usually always carry something with me, so I might have to make sure that's on me in case the real Queen's comes out.
the crazy New York guy.
Just in case.
I'm not that bad.
Okay.
Damn it! I ain't coming up to chaos.
I'll just have AC with me. So if anything,
I ain't scared. No. Oh my god. Anyway, so that's gonna wrap up this podcast of all the shits and giggles. So, but again, Danny, you're great. You're amazing. It's been fun. So thank you everybody that's been hanging out in the chat, all your questions, all that fun stuff, and and to the audio listeners, thank you again. I love you very much. So thanks for always the support. Tomorrow, Duncan from H2O is coming on. We have a lot of questions to ask him. I don't know. Now he's with Jeff Cannonball. We have many questions to ask him. So get those questions ready for Duncan tomorrow as well. And then Mike Verner will be on next week. So
that'll be a good one.
Yes. So and then we'll see.
Definitely be a good one.
And then we'll see if we can get AC onto the podcast. Stay tuned. That's why you got to follow me on the Indie Wrestling Corner. So, guys, you know the drill. Support. Stay safe. Support independent wrestling. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.